Former President Donald Trump intensified his criticism of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy, calling him a dictator without elections. On Wednesday, Trump's comments came after Ukraine was left out of initial peace talks between the United States and Russia earlier this week. Trump's scathing remarks, "A dictator without elections. Zelenskyy better move fast, or he is not going to have a country left," Trump wrote on his social media platform, Truth Social. He asserted that his administration was actively working toward ending the war with Russia, something he claimed only he and his team could accomplish. Biden never tried. Europe has failed to bring peace, and Zelenskyy probably wants to keep the gravy train going. Trump continued. He accused the Ukrainian president of mishandling the war, leading to devastation and massive loss of life. Describing Zelenskyy as a modestly successful comedian, Trump claimed the Ukrainian leader had manipulated the United States into spending an estimated $350 billion on a war that was unwinnable and avoidable. He also criticized the financial disparity between U.S. and European contributions to Ukraine's defense, questioning why President Joe Biden failed to negotiate equal financial commitments from European allies. Why didn't sleepy Joe Biden demand equalization, in that this war is far more important to Europe than it is to us? We have a big, beautiful ocean as separation, Trump remarked. Furthermore, Trump accused Zelenskyy of admitting that half of the aid sent to Ukraine was missing, and condemned his refusal to hold elections, alleging that he was unpopular among Ukrainians and had only excelled in exploiting the Biden administration. Zelenskyy's response: Zelenskyy, addressing reporters in Kyiv, dismissed Trump's accusations and expressed disappointment in his stance. Unfortunately, President Trump, I have great respect for him as a leader of a nation that we have great respect for. The American people who always support us, unfortunately lives in this disinformation space, Zelenskyy said. Trump's remarks came after a series of high-level diplomatic talks in Saudi Arabia. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, National Security Advisor Mike Waltz, and Special Envoy Ambassador Steve Witkoff met with Russian representatives to discuss potential avenues for ending the war, further fueling speculation that Trump-aligned officials were seeking a separate path to peace negotiations. U.S. and Russia push for elections in Ukraine. With nearly a year having passed since Zelenskyy's first 5-year term expired, both Russia and the U.S. are reportedly pushing for elections in Ukraine. Russian officials have made it clear that they will not sign a peace agreement unless Ukraine agrees to hold elections. Meanwhile, the U.S. is considering a 3-stage plan involving a ceasefire, elections, and the eventual signing of a peace treaty. Zelenskyy's term was originally supposed to end in May 2024, with elections planned for April. However, his administration has postponed elections indefinitely, citing martial law provisions that prohibit voting during wartime. As his approval ratings have dropped by nearly 40% since the war began, some analysts believe he may struggle to retain power if elections take place post-war. While some Ukraine advocates argue that elections should only be held after a lasting peace deal is secured, others warn that early elections could provide Russia with an opportunity to interfere and destabilize Ukraine's political landscape. The only person that benefits from elections before there's a durable peace deal is Putin, said Andrew D'Anieri, a fellow at the Atlantic Council's Eurasia Center. The Kremlin loves elections, not in their own country, but elsewhere, because it provides an opportunity to destabilize things. Trump administration officials engaged in Ukraine talks. Trump's foreign policy envoy, retired 3-star General Keith Kellogg, arrived in Kyiv on Wednesday to meet with Ukrainian officials. He emphasized that any peace deal would need U.S. security guarantees to prevent future Russian aggression. "We understand the need for security guarantees," Kellogg told Ukrainian media. "It's very clear to us the importance of the sovereignty of this nation and the independence of this nation as well. Part of my mission is to sit and listen." Additionally, the State Department released a statement following Rubio's meeting with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov in Riyadh. The statement emphasized that Trump was committed to achieving peace and leveraging U.S. diplomatic influence to facilitate negotiations between Russia and Ukraine. President Trump wants to stop the killing. The United States wants peace and is using its strength in the world to bring countries together. President Trump is the only leader in the world who can get Ukraine and Russia to agree to that. State Department spokeswoman Tammy Bruce referenced Trump's recent phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, noting that while the conversation was productive, achieving lasting peace would require multiple discussions and diplomatic efforts. One phone call followed by one meeting is not sufficient to establish enduring peace. "We must take action, and today we took an important step forward," she said. The broader implications of Trump's criticism. Trump's criticism of Zelenskyy marks a significant shift in rhetoric within U.S. political circles regarding Ukraine. While many Republican and Democratic leaders have consistently supported Ukraine's war effort, Trump's remarks signal a growing skepticism among some conservative figures about continued U.S. involvement. Vice President J.D. Vance echoed Trump's sentiment, telling the Daily Mail, "The idea that Zelenskyy is going to change the president's mind by badmouthing him in public media. Everyone who knows the president will tell you that is an atrocious way to deal with this administration." Some analysts suggest that Trump's statements reflect his broader America First ideology, which prioritizes domestic issues over international conflicts. His criticism of European countries for contributing less financial aid to Ukraine than the U.S. aligns with his long-standing grievances about NATO and international burden sharing. Conclusion: Trump's sharp rebuke of Zelenskyy and his administration raises questions about the future of U.S.-Ukraine relations should he return to the White House. While Trump has repeatedly stated his ability to negotiate an end to the war, his latest comments could further strain the already fragile relationship between Ukraine and the U.S., with ongoing peace talks between U.S. and Russian officials. Pressure is mounting on Zelenskyy to navigate both international diplomacy and domestic political challenges. Whether Trump's criticisms will influence U.S. policy moving forward remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: the rift between Trump and Zelenskyy continues to widen, reshaping the geopolitical landscape. In the process,